read and proclaimed. Open our hearts, challenge our spirits, motivate us to go to places that we have been afraid to go. Enable us to hear the word that you would speak to us today. Speak to us in songs, speak to us in our spirits, speak to us in the words of wisdom from a friend. Speak to us in the words of Scripture, so that we might know what it is you would have us do, so we might hear what it is you would say to us. Holy and everlasting God, we are yours at this time and always. Amen. I'd like to let you in on a great truth of life. One that I've come to after many years of, well, just, I guess, life itself and study and thinking and prayer. And, well, it's simply this. Life is hard. It's difficult. It's tough. That probably doesn't come as a great surprise to anybody. In fact, about 28, 29, somewhere years ago, a man by the name of M. Scott Peck wrote a book called The Road Less Traveled. And that was his opening line. He says, life is difficult. And this is one of the world's greatest truths. And that's a reality that we learn almost from the very beginning. Life is tough. From that very first straight knee, from that first time that we're learning to walk and mom and dad let goes of our hand and we just face plant it right there in the ground, we start to learn that, hey, this life stuff is tough. This world around us is a struggle. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to get any better than that. Think about it. Sometimes there are just those days we wake up in the morning, the alarm goes off, and the first thought in our head is, oh, it's another day. And it's not with a smile on our face. It's Monday, I got to go to work. And, that boss that I don't particularly care for, and who apparently doesn't particularly care for me, because every time I turn around, they're yelling at me, and no, I'm not talking about Mary. They're waiting for me there at the office. Or, we wake up and the first thought on our minds is, my kids are going back to school today. Last year school didn't start out so well, and I'm worried about what's going to happen and how are they going to be, and are their teachers going to like them, or are they going to get along, and so on and so forth. And even the little kids are waking up going, tomorrow is school. Is anybody going to sit with me at lunchtime? Am I going to have classes with my friends? Will I have picked out the right clothes to wear? And it's just a reality that life is difficult. Life is hard. There is stuff that happens around us all the time that sometimes just makes us want to go back to bed, pull the covers over our head and say, not today. I can't do it. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to stay right here. And we try really hard, don't we? We try really hard to struggle through. We try really hard to think of ways to get around all that's happening. We go to the self-help section and we look for the latest book, what the latest author has to say, and how can we deal with the stress in our life? How can we deal with the problems? Maybe there are physical things going on, and we go to this doctor, we go to that doctor, or we look for this great homeopathic cure, and we try to figure out, what will stop the itching, what will make the swelling go down, what will make me feel better, what will make me lose 20 pounds really quick by Tuesday before I go see the doctor again, that kind of stuff. And we search and we strive to make it seem like life is not so hard or easy. And we look around us and sometimes we see people that just sort of float through life and things seem to be going well and there's a smile on their face. And I think there really probably are, maybe two people like that in the world somewhere. Most people you talk to, sooner or later, no matter how many times they seem to have a smile on their face, you find out that, they've got stuff too. They've got stuff too. They've got those secret hurts, those hidden pains, those things from 20 years ago that sometimes just come back and haunt them. Those places of uncertainty. And we struggle, we think, hey, maybe I'll try the geographic cure. Anybody ever done that one? It's this job at this place or this town, and maybe if I just pick up and move. In the United Methodist Church, we call that the appointment process. And in the springtime, churches and pastors everywhere they know that somewhere out there, there's that perfect pastor, and there's that perfect church, and if I just get very early, you discover, if you're wise, that people yourself and all your stuff. I come to this verse today, and it talks about kingdom, and talks about peace, and talks about releasing things. And there's this exercise I want you to do with me this morning. Maybe get you to think about this verse a little bit differently than we normally do. Usually when we come to it, we focus on money and possessions and, our relationship with money. But I want you to think about it in a little bit of a different context today. And when I say exercise, don't worry, we're not going to do any jumping jacks. We're not going to see how many push-ups you can do. I would fail in that. I don't think I've ever done a real push-up in my life, kind of thing. So it's not that kind of exercise. It's there's a little bit of a physical part, but it's not that hard. Take your hand, kind of put it out in front of you, and just sort of close it into a fist. And I want you to think for a moment about all that stuff that's in your life. The problems, the worry, the shame, the bosses at work, the coworker, the child that you pray over every night and you just worry about constantly. The husband or the wife who's having a struggle, the relationship that you know of that's in distress, the church meeting that's coming up and you're wondering how it's going to go, the roof that's leaking, the pit that's flooding, and just, all the things that are causing struggle and stress and pain and hurt. And just imagine them for a moment that they're there in that fist. Maybe it's a person. Maybe it's an inanimate object. You ever have an inanimate object that's driving you nuts? When we were on vacation, people have asked me since, well, how was your vacation? I said, well, overall it's pretty good. And the thing that I haven't been able to release yet or let go of is the fact that we had a tire that, had a slow leak. And of course, as the vacation went on, it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so that was my inanimate object that while I was on vacation, I was constantly pumping up. Because I didn't want to have to, try to find a tire store in Ocean City or something like that. But just put all that stuff there in your fist. Now, the problem I think is that oftentimes that's how we deal with all that stuff. It's there in our hands, and our hands are closed tightly about it. Because we know that sooner or later, if we just find the right thing, the right person, the right philosophy, the right thought, the right book, the right method, the right whatever, we can fix it. And so we hang on to it, we hold on to it, it's clasped in our hands, and it's our stuff and my stuff, and sometimes the stuff that's in there, we hold on to it so tightly because we're afraid that somebody else might peek over our shoulder and see it. I gotta be honest, there's some stuff in my fist that I don't know that I want you peeking over the shoulder and seeing it. I don't know that I want you to know what happened in my life 35 years ago. I don't know that I want you to know that, when I was trying to be good and not that I ate a cheesecake. I don't know that I want you to know that I got really mad at that time. To the point that it made me angry. And I said a few things that I didn't want anybody to hear. That's all in there. And I don't know that I want anybody to see it. And so I hold on to it tightly, and then hear that first verse again. It says, "Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom." Jesus is saying, I want to give you the kingdom. The Father wants to give you the kingdom. And he frames it in the here and now. He frames it in the present. See, that's one of the things about all the stuff that Jesus said. Yes, there was a bit of a futuristic, someday looking towards component. But his way of life, his teaching, his faith was meant for the here and now. It wasn't just someday things will be better, someday life will be good, someday you'll be free, someday you'll have peace. No, he meant here and now. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father is pleased to give you the kingdom right now. Well, being given the kingdom means peace and grace and mercy and love to deal with all that stuff. It also means being able to let go of that stuff. Now, a little bit later, he starts to talk about possessions and, go and sell and give to the poor and make yourself purses and store up treasures, that the moth and the rust and all that stuff won't get to you. Well, what I want to suggest to you is he's not just talking about money here, but all this stuff. Maybe part of what he's trying to say is just let it go. Just open your hand and let it go. If you want to experience the kingdom here and now, if you want to know my peace and grace and love, then all this stuff that you're holding on to, all the worries, all the hurts, all the pains, all the shame, all the places of uncertainty, all the fears, all of it, you have to begin to let go so that you can experience the kingdom, so that you know my grace and peace, so that I can begin to fill you up with things that won't rust and things that won't fade away, things of eternity. But right now, when your hand's closed and it's full of all this stuff, I can't get in. I can't give you the kingdom because, well, in a sense, you've kind of got a kingdom right there, all into yourself, filled with all your stuff. Open up your hand and let it go. And let me in. Well, I want to take just a couple moments and do the overpray exercise. I want to give us an opportunity to let go of our stuff. You know, sometimes we kind of, take the horse to the water. We get right up to the bar, we get right to that place, and we say to people, well, this is what's going on, and this is how it is, and we sort of leave the rest of it in. Well, I want us to leave the rest of it to God. And I want you to just close your eyes with me for a few minutes, and just think about that hand that you've got closed, and just think about all those things that are in your life right now. Think about all those hurts, all those pains, all those places of uncertainty. Think about all that stuff. Think about all that, well, maybe it's that 30-year-old sin that you've been hanging on to that's still there, that you just, if anybody knew, if anybody heard, if anybody ever saw, they would never look at me again. They'd never want to talk to me again. Think about that shame from your childhood when that teacher, when that parent, when that grandparent, when that aunt, that uncle, that cousin, the next door neighbor, the bus driver, when they said or did that thing that you've just held on to, and every time you look in the mirror you still hear it and see it. Think about that struggle that is waiting for you when you go to work on Monday, or maybe think about that struggle because of the fact that you can't go to work on Monday because there is no work on Monday. Thinking about that place in the relationship with your child that, you're trying. You're trying to love, you're trying to parent, you're trying to teach, you're trying to lead, but there just is something there. Think about that, getting ready to let someone go to a new phase in their life and how hard it is. Think about getting ready to start a new phase in life and the worries and concerns that there might be. Think about those places and moments of uncertainty. Think about all those things that we just want to hold on to because we know best. We know we can figure out our own way. We're just afraid to let go and release and to share. Think about the words of Jesus and say, I'm going to give you the kingdom. And I want to give it to you now. And you're my precious child, and I love you, and I care for you, and I have so much for you. But there's just all this garbage, all this sin, all the hurt, all the shame, all the worries. It's in the way of the life I would have you live now. Right now. And just open your hand. Just think in your heart and your mind, God, just take it. Take it all. Take the hurt, take the pain, take the worry, take the shame, take the guilt, take the anxiety, take the struggles, take the hidden sins, take the places of uncertainty, take the fears. Just take all that stuff that I've held on to so long, that I've kept bound up so much in my life, and it's been like I've just been clenching my fists so hard that I can feel the nails in the palms of my hand. Lord, just let me open my heart and my life and my hands today and just give it all to you because I want that kingdom. I want that kingdom that you've offered me. And I want to go and sell. I want to let go of that stuff. I want a purse that you can fill up with things that are everlasting. I want your joy. I want your peace. I want your grace. I want to know that no matter what tomorrow brings, you will be there with me. Even though I still might face the difficulty and the uncertainty, your peace and your grace and your mercy will be there for me because I've released it into your hands. I've released it to you. I have faith and trust now because my hands are open, Lord, and I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to receive the things that will make a difference. I'm ready to receive the talents that will enable me to do what I need to do. I'm ready to receive the grace that will enable me to love that person that seems so hard to love. I'm ready to receive the forgiveness that will allow me to let go of that shame and that hurt and that guilt. I'm ready to receive the mercy that will enable me to extend mercy to someone who needs it. I'm ready to receive a sense of trust and faithfulness that will allow me to release my loved ones into your care. I'm ready to receive your healing touch that will bind up my hurts, my pains, and my wounds. I'm ready to receive your supernatural presence into my life so that I will be ready to go and experience all that there is to experience in your kingdom here and now. Here and now. God offers us that opportunity of grace each and every day. All of us experience it today. May we let it go. May we rejoice. May we know that as we open our hands, God enfolds us with his loving arms. And he gives us the kingdom here and now. Thanks be to God.